Record. Okay, good evening. This is a meeting of the Villa Park Environmental Concerns Commission. Today is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. It is also Juneteenth. Just to recognize that holiday, we are holding a special meeting this evening to discuss community solar and electrical aggregation. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Draconis if she would call the roll.
Chairman Wagner,
Yes, here.
Mr. Amore,
Here.
Mrs. Greco,
Here.
Sandy Hill,
Here.
Alan Leishman.
Present.
Lynn Smith,
Here.
and Ivan Figueroa.
Yeah, Ivan has an excused absence. He can't be here this evening. And then our de facto state staff liaison, Vasily cannot be here this evening, so. Okay, so we have, we've established a quorum. Since our member of the public left, there is no public comments. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Can Riley reached out to me today about the newsletter content.
Yes.
Can we add that to the agenda, or it's due tomorrow?
I know that. She copied myself and she copied Commissioner Leishman.
Okay.
So I was gonna put something in about pumpkin smash.
This is what she did, what was in last year, so.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanna just edit that and
Right.
send it on to her. I just wrote down when Halloween was. And
Yeah, we could certainly just,
yes,
probably would be easier for her to put this back in.
recycle it.
So, yeah, okay.
Would you like me to do that tonight?
What's that?
Reformat this for next year?
If you want to, sure, that's fine, yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just trying to take things off.
the only thing I would do is say to her, we're gonna, well, let me step back a second. There's a motion on the floor to put this on the agenda.
Second.
Second, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of adding that item to the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll add that item to the agenda, we'll discuss it when we get to it.
Cool.
Okay. There's no minutes to approve, there are minutes, but they're not, you took minutes last time, right?
I don't think minutes was on the
I have
agenda.
not. I have
No,
not.
there are no minutes on the agenda, but I just wanted to,
I took minutes last time.
you did, okay,
They
gotcha.
are not.
No
drafted
worries,
yet.
no worries. It's not on the agenda, so don't, yeah. I just wanted to point that out. It's not on the agenda. Okay, we're gonna move on to our business section, discussion and action, recommendation on community solar and electrical aggregation. And this, I think I gave everyone a copy of this, but I didn't. So this is just to back up a little bit, in the past, we have recommended community solar. And it's my understanding that anyone can sign up for community solar. This is the program that the county is promoting, and anyone can sign up for it. And so I guess the only thing that we need to do is, if there's just to say recommend to the village board, there's no real drawback for people to be part of community solar. And, you'll save yourself some money, you'll help promote that program. So, Commissioner Leishman.
So just to make sure that I understand, the community solar program is not something that the village is looking to opt into, right?
No.
It is just effectively the most that we could do as a commission would be encouraging the public to sign up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's what we did a few years ago, we recommended that we made a presentation to the village board, we recommended that, that members of the public, our residents sign up for it, because it's, supports, it supports that solar installation. And at the time, there wasn't a project available for people to participate in, but right now there is, so. Commissioner Leishman.
So it sounds to me like we don't really need to make a decision on that particular program tonight.
We don't have to, no.
You know, if we're making a recommendation to the board for the electrical aggregation program, then
Right.
we could lump a suggestion in with that, encouraging the board to publicize it as well.
It might be good to say that the commission endorses it.
Yes.
I mean, we could certainly put that off, it doesn't have to be made, tonight, we could do that Thursday, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trying to procrastinate. I'm
Yeah,
I don't think the community solar decision is as urgent as the electrical aggregation
No, it's not.
decision.
It's not, you're right.
But I do have a question.
Yes.
Does the community solar work with the aggregation? Can someone do both?
That's a good question. And to be honest with you, I don't know the answer. I don't think they're, if you have one, will it prevent you from doing the other? I
I
don't,
suspect that it would.
yeah, you may be right, I don't know.
Yeah, it does not include those with solar or different supplier, but that's not what that is.
Yeah.
I know that, like, if you have the variable, like, different times of day, different charges, I don't think you can use the aggregation.
Yeah. Because then you're purchasing directly from ComEd.
But I'm not sure how the community solar affects this, so.
Okay. So this flyer I got from Joy Hins from the County Environmental Group, so I can, Commissioner Smith.
So from reading this is Commissioner Smith. It's my understanding that not everyone's gonna qualify for this, right? Don't you have certain income
Right.
limitations, which are, low. So everyone might not even qualify.
I suspect, this is Commissioner Leishman, I suspect that higher income people would also be able to opt in. It would probably just be a more expensive membership.
Okay.
At the top of the page says, do you qualify for a $5 membership?
Oh, okay. So
Right.
this is only for $5, but if you don't
I
meet
sus-
these income, you can still opt in for more.
I can't promise this,
Okay.
but I'm willing to bet they would willingly take more money.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was the way I read it,
Okay.
was anybody can get a membership, certain income levels will get you a
A
discount.
discount membership.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can set this aside and, I'll get more information.
Guess we'll just say we would, do we need to take a motion that we would agree upon recommending this as an option? That this
You
is
can
a,
certainly make a motion, sure.
so as Commissioner Smith, I make a motion that the Villa Park Environmental Concerns Commission states that we, I guess, would endorse the Green Energy Justice Cooperative as an option for our residents to consider,
Okay,
or for the board.
okay, so motion, Commissioner Leachman,
I second.
okay. Is there any discussion?
So I'm not just because I haven't been here, but because I'm not sure. I thought there was some urgency why we're having the meeting.
Yeah, the urgency is the aggregation
Something,
part, which we
yeah.
haven't
This is
discussed yet.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's two different things. It's the
Okay.
community solar and then it's electrical aggregation.
all right.
And yes, there are different membership options. There's a low income membership for $5.
This is under the green energy.
Yeah. Standard membership 25, supporter organizational membership 750. So,
Okay, great, thank you, Sandy.
yeah.
To who? This company?
This cooperative.
Commissioner Morey.
So I haven't really had a chance to research the Green Energy Justice Program, so I would be reluctant to vote on it until we look into it a little more. We spent about an hour today just reviewing our electric bills, and under the current system that we have, personally, our bills, we paid about 25 cents a month more. But in return for that, we were able to know that 100% of the renewable credits were going to the wind farm in North Dakota.
Wait, are you talking about
I'm going to this.
the
I'm just
aggregation?
saying-
Yeah, we're still talking about
I
the
understand that, but
community
I'm saying,
solar.
I've had a chance to really look at the numbers with this. I just don't have any knowledge of this, and it wasn't something I had known that I should have looked at in advance.
Yeah, so maybe we should. Well, we've already got
There's a motion on the floor, it's been seconded in, so,
Would
Yeah.
you view this type of thing
It's
as
just
like
an
a
option.
the Prairie Food Cooperative?
Yes,
You know.
it is something that individuals sign up for.
Right, and it's basic, I mean, from what this says, they're trying to do a solar installation that will power approximately $1,200. So the membership is gonna help feed this cooperative for that effort.
So our
It's an option.
yeah, exactly. So we are just saying it's an option, making them aware that that's something that each individual can look into.
And that it's vetted
And that
and
it's vetted.
legitimate and,
Yeah.
yeah.
this, just to, once again, this is a program that the DuPage County is promoting for DuPage County residents. Not just Villa Park residents.
Right.
So this is separate than the community solar, so that's also an option
Right.
for residents.
So I should have made them maybe two separate agenda items, but
Yeah.
it's community solar, and then we're gonna discuss electrical aggregation.
This is the community solar
This is
program.
community solar, yeah. Okay, is there any further discussion?
Would you repeat exactly how you want this to read?
The motion on the table.
Yes.
Alan?
I have endorsed.
You made the
it.
motion.
So the motion was that the Villa Park Environmental Concerns Commission the motion is that we endorse the Green Energy Justice Cooperative program for, I guess, as an option for Villa
Okay.
Park residents to consider.
Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, are there any opposed? Okay, so we'll make that recommendation that this is as an option for Villa Park residents. Okay, we're gonna move on to electrical aggregation. And, we did discuss this last month. And Commissioner Smith had made I believe you had made a motion about the price match program. Was that correct?
I don't recall.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I thought that,
this is where you would get a civic grant.
yes, that was something that I thought
Right, yeah.
would be, that they could use the money for other things in the village, like electric chargers or other programs. Yeah, that you and I both were kind of proponents of that option.
So the other option is to go with the
B.
fixed rate. And
Oh.
Adam Hoover, just to recap what he said, there were issues because some people were taken by surprise by the program, and there were a number of people that opted out. And I don't remember the percentage, but a significant number of people opted out. So what he said was that if we would go with the 100% green renewable energy credits, we wouldn't have to go through the same process again, because they wouldn't be including everyone, they would just be included the people that are currently on the program. If that's clear to people. So people who opted out, they would still be, if they're with ComEd, they'd be with ComEd. We're not gonna put them back on the program where they have to opt out again. It would just be the folks, that are currently on the program, and they would do the, MC squared would do the mailing again to them to say,
Do you
this
still
is the
want
program,
Yeah.
this is how it works,
Yeah.
et cetera. And once again, this is just a recommendation to the village board. They changed our recommendation last time, and so, it's just a recommendation.
Now, like, if someone is opted out currently, will they be opted out for whichever one we go with, or?
That's my understanding, that's what he, when he was with us, whatever that was, 2 months ago.
Yep.
He said that the people who opted out, they're not gonna be put on the program where they have to opt out again.
Opt in again?
Opt in, yeah,
Yeah.
opt in again, yeah.
Okay, so no matter which one we do, if we do the 0%, if we do the 100%, if we do the
Right.
price match, everyone's status stays the same and they have to actively change it. Okay.
Right, so the people that are in the program now, the electrical aggregation, they would be getting the postcard, they'd be saying, here, this is the program through MC squared, and,
Okay. Because when you said it, you said that you just specifically mentioned the 100%, so I just wanted to be clear
Right.
that any of the programs would be same status. Okay.
Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Maury, so in regard to the quote, a significant number of people opted out the last time, speaking to a neighbor, I found out that they was really upset that they went with a program that his fault, was
What?
not aware of, he was not aware of.
Right,
He basically treated the postcard, if they came in multiples, he treated them like junk and threw them in the garbage. So, and I explained a little bit more thoroughly, that I invited him to join us tonight and he didn't show up, so.
did you what, say
He
that?
invited them to be here tonight, he didn't come, now he may come Monday, but the fact is that I'm happy with the program. I think that a lot of people might have opted out because Cub and a lot of other utility providers make a very good case for not changing the program, whatever it's your phone or your gas or to somebody new, because you end up paying more without realizing it. That's not true in this case, but perhaps when we do send out the cards, maybe we could have a more robust effort, including putting information in the water bills. Everybody gets a water bill.
It's a great idea,
And-
yeah.
To your point, I paid anywhere from $5 to $7 more a month than I would have paid with ComEd.
Mhm.
I don't know how you came up with 25 cents, but.
Maybe I'm thinking 25 cents per hour.
That
I'm
might
not
be
sure.
it, yeah, but yeah, my actual monthly bill was $5 to $7 more a month.
Right.
There was 1 or 2 months where it was reversed,
Mhm.
but, so it ended up costing me about $100
Right,
extra.
and I know in the long run, we probably paid a little more, but I was happy with the return of knowing that 100% of the credit to the wind farm, where some of the other programs, you only at most got 5%.
Well, right, and that's the thing, if you're willingly paying extra for the the energy credits, yeah.
Right.
But just saying, it did cost extra, and that's something people need to be aware of.
Right.
So,
But we can also look forward, we can also assume that ComEd bills are gonna go up no matter what.
yeah, well, they already have.
Yeah.
They've jumped a lot. Yeah.
Commissioner Leishman.
I just want to add to the conversation that according to Adam Hoover's numbers, the average household in Villa Park paid about an extra $200 over the course of the last 2 years. So about $100 a year. Based on, the average difference in price and the average electrical usage of a household in Villa Park.
But then there is I don't know when we want to get to it in the discussion, but is the value of the RECs, the energy credits there, is it really adding energy to the grid? I was having a hard time finding that specific information. There was one analysis in 2022 that said if it was a voluntary REC market, no extra energy was generated. It's energy that would have been generated anyway.
Commissioner Leishman.
Yeah, I also looked into the literature for this. In the renewable energy space, there's this concept of additionality, which is like how much, when you purchase these renewable energy credits, how much additional renewable energy is actually being generated as a result of you purchasing those credits. So just to make sure we're all talking about the same things here, renewable energy credits are generated per 1 megawatt hour of renewable energy. So when a solar farm or a wind farm or a hydroelectric dam generate 1 megawatt of power, they can sell that 1 megawatt of power into distributors, and they get paid the same rate for that as anyone putting energy into the grid does at that point. But by virtue of the fact that they are generating renewable energy, they also are granted one REC that they can sell, one renewable energy credit. It is essentially a second source of income for renewable energy generators. So they make the money generating the electricity, and then they can additionally sell the fact that the energy is clean. The argument that renewable energy companies make for this is that it allows you to basically establish a marketplace around these renewable energy credits, so that places where it is more difficult to generate renewable energy, those places can purchase these renewable energy credits from places where it is much easier to generate renewable energy. So the reason why we're purchasing our renewable energy credits from North Dakota right now is because they've got buku wind power up there. It is very cheap. And that's the cheapest option for our electrical aggregation to purchase from. Now, the real $1 million question is what Marianne is getting to, which is like, does this extra investment that we're making in renewable energy result in these companies, either producing more renewable energy or expanding their facilities or yada, yada, yada. And the companies all claim that it does. The literature does not say that. The literature says that it's pretty hard to demonstrate that this actually is resulting in more renewable energy being generated. It certainly is not hurting renewable energy generation for them to have this extra source of income. So I think the decision that we're really weighing tonight is is it worth it to the people of Villa Park to pay this extra money for what may or may not generate more renewable energy in the future?
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you for that breakdown, because it helps us all kind of be on the same level of understanding. So one thing that when I think about that it's costing more a year, we have to realize everyone has different cash flow coming in, so it might not be maybe a lot to us. That's just $100 extra, but for some people, that's a matter of that can be a lot if you're already struggling to pay
Right,
your bills and put food on the table. So I just want us to consider also, diversity of incomes and different situations for people.
If it's made clear, they can easily opt out.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I mean, consider it, but also make it clear to them that they can opt out.
And then if we go with the price match program, we had talked about making sure that the village uses that extra $18,000 in a responsible way that is going back, to some type of energy related, something that'll benefit the community as a whole and be a sustainable, savings and not just using it for something different.
Commissioner Leishman.
So one thing that I want to make sure is not lost in the conversation is that there are 3 options on the table for us tonight. There is the 100% renewable rec program that we're currently enrolled in,
Right.
and then there are 2 price match options.
Right.
There is a price match option that is a 5% renewable energy credit, and there's a price match program where the village gets the stipend, as Commissioner Smith was hinting at.
Oh, that's what that means. Thank you. Okay.
And my recollection of Adam Hoover's presentation is you could go with in the fixed rate, the lower ones, but he said, based upon energy markets, he recommended it's either going with the 100% or the other,
Or the 18.
or the other, one of the other 2 choices under the price match program.
Why?
Now, I just want to make clear, we don't have to make a recommendation. We can say, we don't recommend, we have some questions about renewable energy credits, whether they're effective or not. And we're gonna leave it up to you, village board. You make the decision. We don't have to make a decision. Commissioner Leishman.
Just being 100% transparent and honest with you all here, I have very mixed feelings about all of these options. I'm not 100% settled. But the one strongly held opinion that I had when I walked into this room was that this is exactly the sort of issue that we should be making a recommendation on.
And they're gonna.
I'm not trying to
They're
dissuade
looking for
people
us
from
to
making a
do.
recommendation. I'm just saying,
Yes.
that's.
It is an option.
It's
It's
an
no
option, right,
recommendation.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Commissioner Roy.
So I wanted to follow up on Commissioner Smith's suggestion. People do have to live within their budgets. And so we're kind of placed in a difficult position because as the Environmental Concerns Commission, we want to do what's best for the planet, where the village has influence on that outcome. However, I personally like the previous plan, the ComEd plan, where I paid a lower rate at night when I could schedule usage.
Yeah.
For example, the electric car, this isn't our first one. Any of our plug-in vehicles, you could program the charging system on the dashboard that it wouldn't start, you could plug it in when you got home from work and it wouldn't start charging until 10 o'clock. So when you knew your rates were gonna drop. We've lost that option. So
Oh, really?
It does free up,
That's a shame.
under the new program, you don't have that option anymore. So you got the freedom to do things whenever you want to, Like, you don't have to wait till 10 o'clock to start a load of laundry or turn the dishwasher on. However, you pay a little bit more for that luxury.
Oh, so if you opt out of NIMIC, you can go, so ComEd still offers it, but you can't do both. Okay,
Right.
now, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
That's all I was
Okay.
going to say. It is still an option.
Oh, like the peak rate.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, ComEd still
Yes.
offers that, you would just have to opt out of the
Right.
electrical
It
aggregation.
used to be
program.
called real-time pricing. I don't know
Real-time
what they
price,
call
that's
it.
right, yeah.
So with the recommendation, so which recommendation would you go with the electric aggregation? I mean, part of this is education.
Mhm.
And giving people the options perhaps on a sustainable page on the website. So people can go, you can point them to that direction, say, these are your options. If you wanna save money, you wanna save energy, all of that.
And this is where it's a difficult decision for me to tell other people. I would prefer to say, if you go with the originals, the real-time pricing option with the regular ComEd program, you have a little bit more control of how your monthly bill ends up.
Well, we can still, whatever we pick for aggregation, if we make a recommendation, the village goes with 5% with price match. We can still educate the public saying, if you go with NIMIC, this is what it is. If you stay with ComEd, here are some ways you can save even more money.
Mhm.
So we can do both. We can make a recommendation here and help people make the best decision for themselves.
Commissioner Leishman.
And just to continue on that, the other thing that we can recommend to people is, if we do go with a price match program, and there are people in the village that do have more money and are more concerned about the environment, we can encourage them to sign up for the community solar program,
Yeah.
which will be more expensive for them out of pocket, but might make them feel better about their impact on the environment.
And following up with that, the recommendation, like you said, we don't have to make a recommendation at all. And the recommendation I would make, if in the moment, would be to say, to just advise the board, you have three options. People have different priorities, but for whatever option you choose, we would like a more robust information out, going out to the residents to know exactly what they're dealing with instead of being surprised. Because I get that junk mail village, I would say, well, if it came from the village, you really ought to look at it. But that's a personal thing.
Mr. Smith.
Hi, this is Commissioner Smith. So to follow up on what Commissioner Amore said about kind of remembering our mission as the Environmental Concerns Commission and the role that we play within the greater government, which is kind of to be like, I guess, that educational entity and provide information to the board. So I do know under our current leadership that is something that is important. They want to make sure that the commissions are being used for what they were initially intended for, which is to kind of do the research and make a recommendation. So if we make, they're gonna want to know what's like the greenest recommendation, what's a recommendation that is maybe considering budget friendly, I guess, or they're going, even if we do that, but I think we should provide some type of recommendation so the board would have what they need in order to vote on it. Because that's kind of why we're here.
Right.
Yeah,
This is Commissioner Wagner. I think whatever we do,
yeah,
we should have like something that we can say, okay, this is why we
yes.
didn't recommend, or this is why we did recommend. And the discussion, was around renewable energy credits, some questions about that, just so that they have something to go on. I think everyone knows here that Village Manager Harline is no longer with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yes.
and
As an employee.
as an employee,
I think we all understood
right.
that, yeah.
yeah, he was anticipating our decision, because he was, and I'm not sure if this is on village manager Mike Revis's radar right now.
Well, we'll get it
Yeah,
on
I-
his radar.
Yeah, we'll get on his radar, but I don't, yeah,
And then,
Commissioner Smith.
so I do encourage everyone, if you can, to attend the meeting, work meeting this Monday. There are some announcements that are coming. So,
That's ominous.
yeah,
Yeah, that was very ominous.
we're digressing here.
yeah, we're digressing. I'm just saying before
Right.
we get too far in
Yeah.
the future.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can just focus on this one thing and talk about the pros and cons and make that recommendation
Yeah,
before we plan too far into the
Right.
future.
But I see your point.
Right.
Make a recommendation with a rationale behind the
yeah,
recommendation.
yeah, and if someone makes a motion and it passes by one vote, we should say, here's this was the vote, and maybe the people who were dissenting could write a few words, I don't know. I don't know, we're not the Supreme Court, but
Yeah, I
Right.
don't think we need a dissenting opinion.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Commissioner Moore,
So, like I said, we really have four options now, because this, the one you presented from the county.
no, that's good, well,
It's,
I guess it is
it's
somewhat
related.
related.
It's related,
It's
but,
related, yeah,
but the board, we have a new board, we have new, we have new members of the board, we have a new manager, and we have a new president. I don't think our recommendation with any one of these choices will be helpful to them. I think, is
say it again?
NIMEC gonna be there, or someone from that group, that made the presentation, gonna be at the board meeting Monday?
I think he very well could. I mean, he's been following up with me to say, have you made a
Is
recommendation
it
yet?
even on the agenda as far as?
The agenda hasn't been published.
No, it comes out tomorrow.
Comes
But
out
today.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
This is not on the agenda.
Okay,
I would bet you it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
so what is the recommendation? I mean,
Hmm.
do we not need to target on? I kinda like the whole bringing $18,000 back to the village.
right, especially the
Because-
grocery tax being discussed and everything else they're talking about.
I mean,
And especially with the question mark on the renewal 100%
Right,
renewables, like it really is like what you and Alan were
and then
saying.
if you could have a physical item, like a
Mhm.
car charger put somewhere that
Yeah.
defers that cost.
are you thinking about making a motion?
I don't know what the motion would be, because I was not at
Yeah,
last
I
month's
wanted
meeting,
to-
but I know, I'm picking up what you guys were talking about.
Okay.
I feel like there should be a little more discussion. Because you were saying the grant money, and I was going to, this is Commissioner Greco. I was thinking, use the grant money, some of it, for educational purposes, to make a real effort to let people know what their options are. So if someone absolutely needs the cheapest option, somehow get to them about the ComEd programs that will save them money. And so whatever we pick, use part of, if we do pick the one with the grant money, use part of that money for education somehow.
Then you're talking dollars for staff to either improve your website, improve your publicity that goes out to the community. So, yeah, I mean, that could be a target, yes.
This is Commissioner Smith. So I guess the suggestion that I have is that we know we have, 3 options here, and that we just, for each option, we just state what the pros and, or not necessarily pros and cons, but kind of what the benefits are for each option, and then present that information to the board, and then the board would be armed with that information. They need more information, they can always, get it from other sources, but we've kind of done our part by providing them with some information on.
How the 3 options would affect the community.
Exactly, and then they can from there decide. Because I think at this point, it seems like that's what we're all saying. I mean, I know I have a favorite option, but there's also,
But you could always
depending
say
on what your motivation is.
that the more tangible
Yes.
benefit would be this to the village, as opposed to the credits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's saying like, just don't
You
make
can
a
list them.
recommendation, just list all three and say, here's why it's, yeah.
This is Commissioner Wagner, so, we could, if someone would wanna make a motion for one of the choices, we could do that, take a vote on it, and then we could say, well, here's an argument, we didn't, this is an argument for the other options, cause they didn't follow our recommendation last time. The board didn't,
It's a different board, so,
different board.
different board, different management.
Commissioner Greco.
Yeah, just quick question, we had narrowed it down to the 100% of the green rec option, the not price matching options. Why was the recommendation only the 100%? Why aren't we even discussing the 75, the 50, the 25?
I'm trying to remember his presentation.
Because I'm lost.
Um,
I'm gonna do a terrible job with these minutes.
Don't worry too much, Alan, just do like our final recommendation.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, this is
I think part of it was that
This is just banter.
you have the,
Just my
you're able to say you have 100% green renewable energy credits, and based upon the market,
Yeah, I'm not understanding why the
Yeah.
market would affect
Fifteen
which percentage choice we make. I don't know if anybody else has any idea why we would only be considering the 100%?
well, I'm gonna go to Commissioner
Oh,
Wagner.
sorry. So I don't know, I don't remember either if we had even an opportunity to discuss something other than 100% in that program. But as a consumer, I know that consumers make choices every day, how they're gonna spend their money. And it's, your power is a necessity. Most people are not gonna skip paying their electric bill, okay, unless there's in dire circumstances. So we wanna get them the most value with the consideration that they have an environmentally conscious option. If they so choose, if the board, I'm talking about the board itself, to decide what they think is best for the residents. Because that's what they got elected for. They got
Lay out-
elected to make those
Lay out the
decisions.
three options and let them choose.
Okay,
Yeah, and then just put what this is,
This is what
the
benefit
greenest
is.
option, based on our understanding.
This might financially
And then
benefit the
this
village
might be,
more.
yeah, that's all, then we can, then Ellen would know what
This
to
may
write in
fin-
their
yeah,
notes and what
right.
we can recommend.
And this may benefit the consumer more, it's,
And then that we're not overreaching beyond our expertise.
I think it
either.
would be in order to say, a motion to say that we would, we're not going to recommend, we're not gonna make a recommendation, but we're gonna lay out some details about the choices.
Yes,
Okay.
I like that.
Well, the really important thing is to get the word out to the community.
Right.
I think-
And that's basically what they, if they recommend, that's one thing. If they say this is all we've got, that's another thing. If that's where is that what they're looking for? Is the board looking for us to say, present one option to the residents, or are they looking?
I can't speak for the board, there's new people on the board.
I think
well,
that was the-
generally, what do we,
I think that was the intent,
for
to come up with one, but I think you're onto something, and we've, the way the conversation is going, I think we can go beyond that, and I think laying out the three options, and then the real recommendation is a robust educational campaign to make sure people understand all of their options, whatever's chosen with NIMAC, make sure that the public really understands the community solar and the ComEd flexible spending,
Real-time pricing.
real-time pricing. So I think our recommendation should be education as much as
And I think,
which of these
and
programs
just
to pick.
for the record, I think ComEd offers its own array of options. The real-time pricing is just one of the other options that they have.
Right.
Right. So that's why I'm saying maybe our recommendation is a robust educational program.
Unless what they want is, I don't know. I think my integrity right here is to say, it's not up to me to decide what my neighbor does. And I don't think I want the village board saying that either.
But there's it's an,
I'm just gonna interject really quick. So back in 2013, we made a decision to go with electrical aggregation. And that's why we're doing this now, because as a village, this was on the ballot. Electrical aggregation was on the ballot.
But that, okay, so that's what you're saying, that would be the next step.
Well,
I know you're not accounting for the board, but presumably, the next step would be to have a ballot, something,
Oh, no,
No.
it was on the ballot in
no, it was
2013.
approved.
oh, so you mean that any one of.
Electrical
Okay,
aggregation was
okay,
passed.
okay.
So we're,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can rescind it, electrical aggregation, that's a good question, I don't know.
But don't forget, this is an opt-in, opt-out program, so we're not
Yes.
telling the public, we're just trying to offer them the best
That's the
solution.
education.
Commissioner Leishman.
Yeah, just so we're all on the same page, the whole purpose of electrical aggregation is that like we as a community are collectively buying electricity. And when you buy in bulk, you get a better deal.
Right.
It's basically like, it's like the village buying a Costco membership. We're buying a large amount of electricity so we get a cheaper rate. And it also allows us to purchase from other people besides ComEd. So what we're really negotiating here is which perks do we want for our membership?
Right.
Do we want,
The executive
The
membership
green
for.
ones or
Right.
the money
yeah,
back?
do we want the most,
Rebate.
Right, do you want the free toaster or the coffee?
exactly.
Or the rebate, yeah.
And
So-
nothing that we decide today is going to force any of our neighbors to do anything,
Right.
because it is an opt-out
It's an
program.
opt-out.
Program.
Um,
But I will add that, like Commissioner Morey said, someone got the card in the mail and they discarded it. Some people get a lot of mail and you get overload. Yeah,
I think we all agree that the public communication last time, 2 years ago, was pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
And we on the Environmental Concerns Commission unfortunately kind of became the face that had to, do damage control with the community at a lot of different events.
Yeah, that's right.
But and I 100% agree that we should do it better this time. But I don't believe that in any way should discourage us from making a decision tonight. We are here as an advisory commission to the Board of Trustees. We are supposed to be subject matter experts
Yeah.
on our specific area of interest. And so I strongly feel that this is something that we should be making a specific recommendation on.
Commissioner Smith.
This is Commissioner Smith, I agree with what Commissioner Leachman just said. Just kind of reminding us all of our purpose and what the new board and the new president, they're going to be expecting, from us. And, even if we can just break it down as simply, as he pretty much just did, this is the option where, with the 100%, that's probably, more sustainable or green option. This option, you would get kind of like a sort of a rebate, like 18,000 back. And then what's the other, the B, which we really haven't talked about, the 5% EPA, which.
It's a 5% rec.
Oh,
program.
right, yeah, not that much really, but, and then just present it like that, here are your options, A, B, C, right? And this one is considered the greenest out of our choices or most sustainable. This option, you would get 18,000 back, the village can use that, to benefit, or it might be better for those well, I don't even want to say that, right? I don't want to say it's going to be better for someone on a fixed income. But really just have what the options are and then just put what the benefits could potentially be and then let them decide. But that way we've at least provided that.
Right.
And then as Environmental Concerns Commission, we told them which option is the more sustainable or greener option.
But if you have concerns about, help me out, the recs or whatever,
Correct.
then how can you put that as a recommendation?
You can put it's perceived to be based on, you know,
Right.
because that's all we can.
But then that to me is not a recommendation, because it's, if it's murky, go ahead.
This
This
education.
is Commissioner Leishman. Just to clarify, my concerns about recs are not that they are bad for the environment.
Yeah.
No, but it's,
They are,
To what degree are they?
it is
Yes.
what degree,
Yes.
to what degree are they good?
Yeah.
right,
Um,
and that's the murky part, right?
Yeah,
I don't find that murky.
No,
That's
they're
just
good. It's
uncertainty.
just to what degree.
right, but then,
Right.
so is my money,
Yeah.
my extra money that I'm paying
Worth
doing
it.
any good or not?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And people are going to want assurances that they're paying extra money is getting them something.
So
And that's
as-
something we might not know right away.
I mean,
because
and we
this
can
is
be
still a
honest with
newer
people.
type program.
We can be honest with people, you know, it does encourage the market, but to what degree, we don't know.
We are unable to determine.
You know, this is Commissioner Maury. So, reading the minutes from the April meeting, it was reported that Villa Park's contribution towards this was the third highest rate among all municipalities in the state. To me, looking at it in the reverse, how many more larger communities that have more knowledgeable staff avoided the program entirely when it came to dealing with the 100%, the one that we dealt with. It's the people who didn't join us that are more telling than the ones that were third in the state, municipalities.
I wonder what the park did.
this is Commissioner Leishman. My hesitation to agree with you, Commissioner Morey, is that it is not staff that is making this decision. It is the Board of Trustees.
Right.
And it is going to be the Board of
Trustees.
Trustees that is making this decision at every municipality around the state. So I don't think staff size really is indicative of, how good or bad a decision a village might make.
No,
In this particular case.
Well, boards tend to go for the dollars.
18.
They do tend to go for the cheapest option. So, yeah.
But the village board didn't do that last time.
This is a different board, though.
Yeah,
Different
board, right.
president, different board.
Well, I'm just saying a lot of, but, so many of them didn't because that tends to be human nature, to go for the cheapest.
well, I thought they did, because this minute note says, in the current agreement. The current agreement would make me believe it's the agreement we're now operating under.
Right, which goes to
That's the one
October.
that gives the 100% renewable
Right,
credits.
that's what the village
Right, that's what
board
we're currently,
decided.
Right,
yeah.
okay,
No, our board did, but in general, you're saying all the other boards who
Right.
didn't do it,
right.
but it is more common to go for the money, the cheapest option.
So,
Commissioner Smith.
so are we at the point where we can kind of start making some actionable items?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if anyone wants to make a motion, feel free to,
Helen, did you have something to say before I make
You look like you do.
a? Yeah.
Come on, Ellen.
You were good, you say
I have-
something.
Come on, you're gonna bust.
There
You
is
know,
always more discussion after a motion is made. So
Say it.
don't be discouraged from making any motions that you wish to. I feel that I'm an outlier on this board, in my opinion.
We may surprise you.
So I guess one other thing that I'll throw in, one other thought that I have. My concern about the civic grant program, the $18,000 a year that the village would get. People have been throwing around we all have lots of great ideas of how that money could be used for environmental causes around town. But we're not going to be the one to make that decision.
No, absolutely not.
We can, make a recommendation to the board for how that money should be used, but they are under no obligation to follow through with that recommendation.
Right.
So that is my concern about the civic grant program.
More trees.
Yeah.
It's Recommendation.
And yeah, so personally, I would lean more, if we're going with the price match program, I would lean more towards the Rex than I would the community grant.
This is Commissioner Smith. One thing I will say about the grant, oh, there it is. Thank you. The civic grant, I do know that there could potentially be some future programs coming up where that money could be used for things regarding our parks and our gardens and such as tree planting, so it still could stay in the ballpark of environmental. And I mean, let's face it, a lot of municipalities do need additional funding sources in different ways, and that still is something that's tangible, that's helping our village, that we can, you know, you don't have to wonder to what degree, you know.
This Commissioner Wagner, I mean, you could say, we recommend the civic grant program and we recommend that half of it go towards the purchase of more parkway trees. Because, I mean, we have, I don't know if we can say we have a deficit with trees, but we've lost more trees
Yeah.
than we
And we're
planted.
supposed to be the garden village too, so.
Right.
My concern is if we're too specific, it'll end up just rolling into the regular budget and the money they would have put for the trees goes to something else. I think we saw that with the lottery
Well, you
in
can
the
always see what they
schools,
spent
but-
last year and it's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, we're only going to be able to recommend.
Right, it's not our decision.
And then keep in mind, we have different trustees and a new village president, new manager, who also have different priorities, you know. And we also have our comprehensive plan as a village that they are really trying to make sure that that's just not paper, but that we're actually doing the things that are on there. So, I mean, I guess maybe I can make a motion, right?
Well, we can always change it and make another one later, so.
You can always make
Yeah,
a motion that
make,
says,
yeah.
Yeah, I think
What
we're
is-
probably at that point, maybe to
what are
start
the
making
two,
some motions.
the rec, help me out,
There's 3 of them.
right, go with 2 of them and say, we're having a difficult time to determine which is the best. It would either be this one or this one. This one would be more recs or whatever, and the other one would bring more dollars to the village. And then get rid of the third option. And say, hey, there you go.
Just Commissioner Smith, I totally agree with what Commissioner Sandy is saying. So I make a motion that the Village of Villa Park Environmental Concerns Commission, that we suggest that the village Board of Trustees consider 2 options. One option would be the 100% renewable credits, which is believed to be the more sustainable green option, or secondly, alternatively, the civic grant,
Civic grant.
which would provide $18,000 annually of revenue to the village budget, and that be used for a green initiative such as tree planting.
Okay, so there's a
Oh, no,
motion
that's
on the
quite
floor to say we feel these are the 2 best options.
The 2 best options for them to
Right.
just consider.
Okay,
'Cause-
and the one would be the 100% renewable energy credits or the civic grant program.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Well, before I second that, can I just
Oh.
ask about,
What's that?
Let me second,
Before-
I'll second it.
Okay.
And then we can discuss.
all right,
Okay,
second.
Yeah.
okay.
No, you can discuss.
Okay, so my concern is because technically the village is, the board is waiting for a recommendation. So would it be more open to say, of all the available options, we think that these two are the best of the options available, or the best,
The three of us.
you would be best, we're best serving you by giving you these two options to decide on.
Right, I think that's what the motion is.
But I was throwing in of all the available options.
There's like three, right?
There's three or
Well, actually, there's,
It's four.
possibly four if you
Oh, I guess
decide
you
not
have
to do
all the
anything.
other different
1, 2,
percentages.
3,
yeah.
4, 5,
Yes.
6, 7. There's 7. Well, 8 if you consider no action.
Right,
You can just say of the available options,
That's what I was
we have narrowed it down to these two options and then kind of go from there.
and this is option,
Yeah.
option A, option B, you decide.
I'll second that motion as revised.
Yes.
So you're just putting a finer point on
Right,
Commissioner Smith's option, Commissioner Smith's motion.
And I would like to just say, if we do vote this motion in, when we write the recommendation, add more information. So like, the greenest option is the 100%, but we should definitely make make an effort to educate the public that they have other options if budget is their main concern or something like that.
right.
You know, and specifically mention, make sure the public knows about community solar, make sure the public knows about the real-time pricing as ways to save money if that is their primary concern.
Yes.
And then for the civic grant, encourage in the recommendation, if they go with the civic grant option, encourage them to make it transparent, tangible environmental projects,
Yes.
like charging stations and trees.
Yes.
Okay,
So, yeah, I
is
just
there any
wanted
further discussion?
And I would also add that they need to be more, provide more information or better information to the residents
Than last time.
than, so that people understand exactly what's going on. Because most people don't, look who's here. We had one person who was a regular family one.
This is
This is where they had
Commissioner,
the chance to get their input.
Commissioner Smith. So the onus is also on the residents to also do their part
Mhm.
in attending meetings, reading the literature that's sent,
Yeah.
research, because, like, as you said, one person from the community showed up, and even at the board meetings, that's an opportunity to ask. And so I think that's a two-way street as
Right.
well. Like, they've done their part, but also encourage the residents
Right.
to also seek out these resources, like when they're sent,
Right.
make them aware.
Right.
If you get a postcard with the village
Yeah.
logo on it, at
Yeah.
least look at it,
Yeah,
yeah.
but technically, this is their only opportunity to ask, this and coffee with the board. Because
Mm-hmm.
when they go to a board meeting, they can comment, but they can't get questions answered.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they do have some responsibility, but yeah.
Commissioner Leishman?
So, point of order, do we need to, I'm not sure what the rules are here. With the motion on the table to make this recommendation, do we have to flesh out all of the wording and caveat of this recommendation during this discussion period before we vote on it? Or can we continue the conversation after
Yes.
the motion has been voted on?
I think that we can flesh it out afterwards. We don't have to work out specific
Okay.
wording.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah,
What's that?
I was hoping you were going to say that.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You're saying that what's been presented is not going to be the actual motion? What do you?
No, it is the
really
actual
It
motion.
is the actual motion,
The
but
recommendation.
our explanation,
There's going to be a written form of
This
it.
is what-
a written explanation doesn't have to be thrashed out here.
Yeah,
Right.
so the motion is to write a written
Call the order.
recommendation with
How do you-
extra details rationalizing it.
Yes.
Call the question.
So I'll just make it, just a reminder, Adam Hoover said he needs that the board needs to make a decision by July 10th.
Okay.
So,
So that's gonna be at the upcoming,
what's that?
that's coming up soon.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah, so, yeah. I mean, I can communicate to Manager Rivas what we talked about and to say, our rationale or information is forthcoming. Okay? So is there any further discussion? All right,
My only other point of discussion is that I thought we were having this meeting tonight because we wanted to have a decision before the board's meeting on Monday.
That's what I thought.
right, and I'm gonna communicate that to him,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I think if we can get a written form of that recommendation out before Monday, that would be great.
That would be good.
Sure,
Could-
yeah.
Yeah, like
Couldn't we just,
tomorrow.
I mean, the way you just said it, so, I mean, from all the comments made today, it's almost kind of written, right?
Yeah, I feel like, I think that everything we want to say has been said at the table. It's just
Yeah.
making sure it all makes it into the letter. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll say, these are the two best options. If you wanna put it in, bragging rights or whatever, having 100% renewable energy credits is a good selling point for the village. But the civic grant program, having that money, would be advantageous for programs like planting more trees. And we feel that the spending of that money should be transparent and should be in keeping with furthering the sustainability of the village, advancing some issues that are, and then robust education.
Yeah, and remind people who are more budget conscious, depending on which one we go with, right, yeah.
Right.
Okay. I
mean,
think,
that's essentially,
I don't know who's gonna write
it
it,
doesn't
but
have to be 2 pages, but, it can be
it sounds like a page to me.
It's a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like the motion that we should be voting on is the board granting one of us the authority to write this letter on behalf of the board.
that's fine, yeah.
Do you disagree?
Yeah, if somebody wants to raise their hand and say, I'd like to write that letter, then go for it,
Will you explain that, why you want that? What is that?
Well, we need to write an explanation.
Yes, but, okay.
We would like to
Well,
get it to
I
the
just
village
saw-
board on Monday.
I am of the opinion that we should give a written recommendation to the Board of Trustees on
Yes.
Monday.
Yes. But that's not
And I'm
part-
also of the opinion that if someone is going to write that recommendation, they should have the permission of everyone that's sitting at this table to do that, because you're speaking on behalf of the committee.
Right.
Um,
I don't have the wherewithal right now to write the letter, so
that's totally fine.
I'm saying, I didn't hear what you said.
She doesn't have the time to do it.
I don't have time to do
Yeah.
it.
I know Lynn does.
I could write it tonight I could write it this weekend if other people.
Yeah, and I think,
I think Mary, this is Commissioner Mary Ann, you did make some really good points too, as you were
don't you
speaking,
just-
summing it up. You pretty much have written it in your comments.
All right, well,
And Alan.
okay, I'm being pressured, but this is Commissioner Greco. Okay, I will do a draft on Monday, if you would have time, tomorrow morning. I can do a draft tomorrow morning. Would you have time tomorrow to look at it?
I'd like to look at it as well.
Well, I mean, I could give it to everybody,
Yeah.
yeah. Why don't I do that? I'll write it tomorrow, I'll send it out. And try to get all the edits in to, and who's the chair of this committee? That's you,
Who's the
right?
chair of the commission?
Yeah, I was thinking,
Yeah, I'm the
I
chair
can
of the
draft a
commission.
letter, but you can send it to the manager.
Sure.
I think you probably have a better relationship than I do, so, I mean, I don't really have a relationship.
Is there a certain time it's due, so, in order to make it,
I would think sooner is better if
Yeah.
they have to make a decision on it.
Especially if they want to add it to the agenda.
you said the agenda.
I think the board packets go out tomorrow, late afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna make it in the
What did you
packet.
say?
We can always,
Because
can we
what
always
I-
add it
what-
on
I
as
thought
a,
this is what we seconded.
to the agenda?
Yeah.
I
Today.
can't
He
find out.
he did a revision he tweaked the initial.
Well,
Did it?
that's on here, but
19th, June.
is the
Oh, my
motion
God, it's Thursday.
to
Okay.
suggest that's?
Okay, so what have we decided? Am I writing it in the morning and are we gonna try to get it done by a certain time or are we gonna just
Talking to someone.
settle for Monday? The decision has to be July 9th, July
Well,
10th. They need to decide by
Well,
July
I can
10th.
give you less.
The question is, when is it gonna be on their agenda? And,
Certainly during public comment, you
Huh?
can
Yes.
do,
yeah, public comment,
Yeah.
I mean, the sooner that we get it to them, the sooner we've done our job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's not really, I mean, we've pretty much, seems like this is Commissioner Smith, like it's pretty much been written, all the meat of it, based on all the comments. And just kind of write it out and then send it
So
for review.
how about this proposal? Commissioner Wagner,
Yep.
after we make our decision tonight,
Just type it.
you will send an email to Manager
Yes.
Rivas saying, here are the two that we are
Yes,
recommending, assuming that this motion passes.
yes.
And then you can also say in that email, we will have a written form on Monday.
that's perfect,
Perfect.
that's perfect, yeah. Yeah, this way we've communicated to them in time,
So they
and
know.
if it is on the agenda Monday, we'll be able to go there. And I would encourage, you know,
Yeah, it'll be
other
on Monday.
commissioners to come and talk as well, if you feel strongly, so. Okay, let's vote on the motion, I'm sorry.
I was just going to motion to call the question.
Okay, there we go,
Okay,
okay.
I just need to know
exactly
what
what
you want.
she needs to
I
know what
have-
the
I
motion
have-
exactly is, right?
Yes, that, to me, that's an important part of the minutes, but
Yes, it is.
if I'm being too picky about it, then you have to let me know.
You're not.
Well, what I have here is that Commissioner Smith moved that the ECC suggest the available, of the available electrical aggregation options, that the board considers these two as the best options. 100% renewable, no notes, and the civic grant.
Yeah, or the civic
And-
grant, yeah.
And that there be provided, I do have in here about the, but I don't know if you want that in there, about the use of the funds, and that the village provide robust educational information to the residents.
Yes.
Is
That's-
that the motion?
What's the date?
Is the motion much simpler than that, we are writing this?
No, I think that's pretty accurate.
And use of funds, when you
Use of
say
funds
use of the
for-
funds for environmental,
Environmental,
Environmental
For-
issues.
for Villa Park.
yeah,
Yeah,
for,
the
Enviro-
budget,
for, what do you say, for
For the
sustainability?
enviro,
Yeah,
To
for
meet
environmental
sustainability.
benefit for the
Yeah.
environmental benefit of your Villa Park.
Yeah,
right.
yes, $1,800 annually to be used for environmental issues.
18,000.
18,000.
18,000, it is 18,000 here. And,
environmental and sustainability initiatives,
Environmental,
and sustainability initiatives.
environmental and sustainability?
Yeah, that way it gives them some options.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
initiative.
Yeah, so I'll send the email tonight, I'll send to Manager Rivas, I'll copy Village President Patrick, and then I'll say that we will have a more detailed explanation. Okay?
Or a
Right.
more formal letter or
Right.
something, yeah.
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 for
Okay.
on Monday. And then
All
that
right.
way we can check that off our list.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Okay,
Alan, I think you'll probably do a better job writing it, but.
I don't know why you say that. But I am happy to help.
Underestimate.
But I've also
no
learned
public
the joy of
presence, so
AI.
no comments on agenda items. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Leishman.
No, we have a,
Do you have a-
Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. So, yeah, the next item, the amended, is the submission for the Village Matters.
Right. So I don't know if there's dates assigned, I just wrote down Halloween is Friday the 31st. The next day, is that gonna be the pumpkin smash?
That's that's exactly what I was thinking, because last year, they said, well, we'll do it the weekend afterwards, but then some folks said, oh, that's too long to wait.
Right.
So I didn't have a chance to reach out to Scaris, but I was gonna say, what are your plans,
November 1st, right after Halloween.
I think November 1st makes more sense, because who wants to keep rotten pumpkins around that long? I don't know.
People do, they put them up, they use them as decoration.
Yeah,
Can't we modify that and say there'll be a pumpkin smash? Does it have to have a date?
Date to be D.
or we could say, I mean, it depends what if I can call Scaris tomorrow, and is it November 1st, or is it whatever, November 8th, or, when is the official pumpkin
And
smash?
then the other item is the oil, which is is at date, the oil collection.
Right,
Is, what did I write down for Thanksgiving?
The 27th.
27th. So, I just wanna make sure.
If we're deciding for the pumpkin smash, I would go for the 8th, but that's me.
so the cooking oil collection would be the 29th.
Okay.
That's also a Scaris program. I know that the district will participate again, so.
Okay, so the 29th.
So I'll contact Scaris, I'll find out, and then we can amend, I'll just communicate with you.
Okay.
And then you can communicate with Riley.
Or you can just directly email
Okay.
Riley.
Okay.
Whatever you prefer.
Okay,
I was trying to make it easier on you, but if it's just another link in the telephone, then
yeah, I'm just gonna call them. I'll just email Kay McKean tonight to say this is for our, autumn Village Matters, we need to know so we can publicize it.
so what is easier for you? Would you like me to send the email to Riley, or would you like to send the email to Riley?
I'll send the email to Riley.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Was it first?
Okay, so I think we've dispensed with that issue, okay. Okay, I'm gonna move on to commissioner comments.
What am I saying?
Commissioner Leishman,
No comments.
okay. Commissioner Smith,
I encourage everyone, if you can, to attend the board meeting on Monday. And that's it, thank you.
okay. Commissioner Moore,
I may have missed it, but wanted to finalize discussion for Summerfest
Oh,
for Saturday.
yeah.
I cannot.
we can cover that in
We didn't,
chairman comments if
Yeah.
you want. Yeah, I'll just talk about that.
okay.
Commissioner Draconis,
I will not be here this weekend, but
okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Hill,
I'm gonna be working at the library in the morning and in the evening, so I should not be able.
You're gonna nap in between.
They say where the air conditioner's working.
Yes, and hopefully no storms come through, because that's why we man the building from 5 to 10:30. So,
Commissioner Greco,
No comments.
okay. Okay, speaking of summer festival, we have a space, I don't know what our space number is. All I got was the email from Sue Earl saying, this is, here's a map, I don't know where we're gonna be.
is she still?
So,
Oh, Saturday.
she didn't get here.
Yeah.
So,
You're rolling over it.
jeez. So, LRS donated
The truck will be down
100 yard waste stickers.
because they
have
to
Cool.
Ace Hardware donated 500 yard waste bags.
My God,
It's 100 packs of 5, so we don't have to hand out
Yeah.
500. We
Right,
only have
you
to
don't
hand
have
out 5.
And then
that's cool.
there's,
Yeah.
It's very
we got these stickers as well from LRS that people can put on their,
Oh, can I
you don't have to have a,
A bag.
So, what I did was, I just took the section and I don't know, I think someone here created it, that deals with what you can, putting your food scraps, et cetera, into your yard waste bag. So I'm gonna print up 500 of them, and we can staple them to the yard waste bags that says, here, you can compost these food waste items, and here's a yard waste sticker. I mean, we get people I took it right off the website.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Katie Neary at LRS. She said, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Somebody here did that. I didn't do it.
Did you do an article on
Did you? Yeah,
I did
anyways.
it.
that?
Yeah, so
No?
it has a list of all the stuff you can put in your yard waste bag. I mean, eggshells, whatever.
Yeah,
So-
so I brought it up, but it's on the village's website.
It's on the village's website,
Yeah.
and I verified with Katie Neary that it's accurate.
Plus, I'm bringing the gumball machine with
That's
ECC
great.
gumballs.
Yeah, sure.
I'm bringing a supply of my the hand fans that were, our rail safety initiative has recreated the little blue signs on the mast at the signal. Great hand fans for a 94-degree day. I have
I've got a-
supply
I've got
of
a-
those.
I've got a bunch of material that was supposed to be delivered yesterday, but from the county, but it's coming tomorrow. So it's up-to-date flyers from the county on environmental programs. And then the village released, the new policy on lead service lines. I was gonna create a flyer about that, just to kind of cut and paste what they have on the website.
Oh.
Commissioner
It's
Smith.
just- Is there like do we have a QR code where people can just like scan it on their phones? Or is that something Riley can do or no? You
What do
know,
you-
like
Well,
a QR
I
code
bet-
maker where you
What do
can
want
just
to
scan.
point to? What
What-
specific?
No, for the flyer that you're saying, the village service lines, it's because a lot of times people really, the paper ends up in the garbage.
I mean, the lead service line website.
Or whatever flyer,
Well, a QR code for the lead service and
Yes,
for the
and for the-
recycles,
and
yeah.
recycle.
Or I'm sorry, the compost. in the
And
yard
that's just seeing what happens with paper, and it's more using less paper. I'm just saying as an
Yeah,
option. If it's
good
more
idea.
work,
But
I
people
wouldn't worry
prefer
about
it.
it.
I know you can create a QR code. Commissioner Leishman's done it on flyers.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
you just have like one flyer you put it in there, and people can scan it. Then that way you don't have to carry all that paper and
Yeah.
Yeah, less wasteful.
So you could forgive me for my ignorance, so you could create a QR code, put your phone up to it, it'll link
Take
you right to
the
that
link.
page.
Yeah,
Okay,
and just have like
How
a couple
difficult
of
is that to do?
those sitting there.
It's not hard.
It's not if you know how to do it.
Oh, obviously.
Who knows how to do
Did you
it?
state the
Raise
obvious
your
there?
hands.
Is
I
there,
could, if,
I believe it's just an app.
I'll send you the flyer, could you do that?
yeah, is it
Just
a
a link,
PDF or is it a website?
because it normally links to website.
It's a page on the village's website.
Okay, yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
fine.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it wasn't a PDF document.
And even the other
That
one
I
too,
can.
because you got mentioned 2 flyers. So the lead service lines, and then there was something else you said
The
before.
composting, putting your food scraps in your
Yeah,
yard
and that's
waste.
a link too on the website. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So then that way you don't have to carry all that like paper and
I'll
stuff.
send you,
yeah.
you probably can find them on your own. but-
Yeah, I'll look for them and I'll just send you the QR code
Okay.
document and then you can print
Perfect.
it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have those things
Put
that
in
we
that
can
little
put on,
plastic thing.
vinyl thing that stands up on the thing.
Exactly,
People
yeah.
can just go by it.
Just scan.
But I think we should have some to hand people for maybe people,
That are not as
You know,
tech.
Oh, who don't have
Exactly.
smartphone? Yeah,
You might have
that's
some seniors, or you might have some people who prefer
who don't have
paper.
smartphones.
And we'll want something to be attached to the bags anyway.
Well, true. Yeah.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll bring a tent and the weights unless Parks will Parks and Recs be providing them, or
No.
is it, we need the shade, it was
Say it again?
Parks and Rec, will they be providing the tents, or do we have to provide
No,
them?
no, they will not.
Alright, I'll bring the tent, but what
Yeah,
time is
I'm gonna
set
bring,
No.
last year I believe they gave us a table and 2 chairs.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna bring some additional tables, folding tables,
Mhm.
and a couple additional chairs.
I have to be in Hanover Park by 9, so
So
I
let's do
can
the
set up
exchange
by
tomorrow.
7:30.
Well, you said 10:30 to noon was the open, so
Right, but they have a ridiculously early
Well-
setup time.
what time do you wanna start
Probably
setting
better,
up?
'cause
That's
I-
the bottom line. What time do you wanna
The
set
earlier the
up?
better, because it's gonna
Yes,
be
it-
blazing hot.
Yes.
Yeah, so you tell me how.
Well, I'd like to meet up with you Saturday morning, because Betty's using the tent tomorrow for one of her events.
I kind of heard that in the conversation.
Yeah, so our tent is being used tomorrow. I can bring it Saturday morning
I will
before,
be
by
as,
8:00.
I'll press Sue Earl, say, tell me where we're gonna be, and then I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
If you find out where the library's gonna be, let me know.
Okay, yeah,
Oh, so
are they,
they'll know?
yeah, why they couldn't tell us where, they did a little map, why they couldn't do a map
Crazy, they
showing
don't
us
know
where we
people
were, I
are
don't know.
gonna be.
Yeah.
I
And
think
it's
they
in-
know, they just don't wanna tell us.
Okay, so I had originally said I would do the 10:30 to noon because I assumed we'd set up at 10:30, but it sounds like you're gonna be set up before then, so.
Yeah, well, you can still be there at
All right, I'll do the 10:30.
11 o'clock, if you wanna be there at 10:45, that's fine.
Yeah,
What
I'll
time is
get,
it officially open? 9?
No, 11 o'clock.
11?
Yeah, but they say vendors shut down at 8 o'clock, but we never go to 8 o'clock.
No,
most vendors
can't last
wrap up
that
about
heat.
5.
What's that?
you can't last in that heat.
No,
And they've got, now some vendors do need the whole time to set up. They've got, like, you can start as early as 7:45 to set up. But I don't think our tent's gonna need more than the half hour.
It's just finding the.
getting there
people
early, there's
and
not,
just-
you beat the traffic, you beat the people.
Well,
rush.
you get in there before they close everything down, too.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
Very-
so you two are gonna be there for setup. Do you want,
Well, I don't know what time setup is. I'll be there at 10:30.
sorry.
I'll be
Yeah.
You two will be there for first shift.
Correct.
Right.
yes.
Do you want me to come in for second shift then?
That would be great.
Is that gonna be starting at noon?
Well, what time is convenient for you? I can be flexible if
My
you,
whole Saturday's free.
so if you wanna come in later than noon, you know, just.
So just to let you know, I have to scoot by 3:30, so, or 3:45. So I can be there from 10:30 to 3:45.
Well,
But
that's a hot day for
I will not be there for the, I can come at,
Was
like
like
at
that way?
6:30, but we're gonna be shut
Are
down.
you gonna come back or are you going all?
No, I'll be there at about 12:15, and I'll be there the rest of the day.
So I'll be back,
Okay, so you'll
I'll be back in
close.
time to help you shut down.
Okay, so you're coming at 12:15.
I'll be there at 7:45 for the drop off. Yes,
Yes,
12:15.
You'll be there at 12:15.
I'll send, Molly also volunteered,
Yeah,
so I'll send out,
I think she wants to come first thing in the morning, like
Right.
Mary Ann.
right,
So maybe I'll come at 2
that sounds perfect,
to finish out the day
that sounds
with
perfect.
Joe.
Yep.
Okay.
Bring plenty of water.
Yeah, it's
can't
got,
I've
What's that?
actually got,
Bring lots of water.
Yeah.
You can't
I-
afford to get
I've
dehydrated.
got
Yeah.
the extra large, big water jug that'll be
Good.
full of ice and
Good.
water, and the little
Yeah.
triangle disposable cups to throw away.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah,
I would just
I
use
know.
my bottle, but I've got one about this big I was
Yeah.
gonna bring, but if you've
Yeah.
got the
It
big
was
one,
hot,
that's
it was
perfect.
really hot
Okay.
last year.
The big one probably only lasts half a
And you
day
know, being
before
environmental
Right,
concerns,
right.
we don't want to use
I have a
plastic
little,
water
I have a
bottles.
little neck.
Well, yeah, but you want to use
Disposable
usable
bottles,
water
yeah.
bottles. And I've got the dispenser on the side.
Right, yeah.
For just a quick sip.
But people can fill their water bottles from there instead of using.
And I will have
disposable
everything
plastic.
neatly inside of our portable,
Storage.
yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna make sure that it's neat and that Sandy and everyone else approves.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
come by and take a picture.
What's that?
I'll come by and take a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
so they'll have a Sandy approved stamp on it.
Yeah.
So, before I
Make
close
your
out the
life
meeting,
easier.
Commissioner Smith alluded to it. And this is not official, but I was told, not by
Do we
Commissioner
want this
Amore.
on the meeting or do we
Should we
want to adjourn the
adjourn the
meeting
meeting?
first?
I'm in chairman comments.
Oh, okay.
And you want to say this for the recording?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, it's not official, but there's an item on the agenda about boards and commissions. And so there may be some changes to boards and commissions. I don't know what they are. I did talk to the chairperson from another commission, actually two, and no one had spoken to them about any changes. So, you may anticipate that something may change, you know? This commission may change. This commission may, who knows, may go away.
Do they have the power to
But,
do that
but they have to
unilaterally?
pass an ordinance. You can't just summarily say, this commission's gone.
And an ordinance requires like several meetings, correct?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So there may be some changes coming down, but
So this would be like a first reading.
it'll be discussed,
But the
yeah.
first reading can always be waived, I believe.
What's that?
The first reading can always be waived.
Right, right.
Which
But-
kind of feels like it defeats the purpose, but
But a good thing would be to talk to the chairperson and maybe the staff liaison as well, so. That's all I'll say. Commissioner Smith,
That's why I was just suggesting it would be nice if our commission had a good showing for those who are available at the meeting, you know.
Commissioner Leishman,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
okay? Second,
Second.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.
okay,
Nay.
all right.